Hello, welcome in. This one's a little bit special today. We're going to be tapping into something deeply personal to you, and that's what hidden power is within you. What makes you magnetic, unique, and stand out that you may not even realize you contain within you. This could be energy or a trait that really sets you apart, that really draws people into you, and you may not clearly see this. I think sometimes we don't see what really makes us unique. It's almost like we don't want to, we want to be humble, which is great, or we overlook it, or sometimes I think we even see it as a negative thing. We think it's something bad about us that we wish we didn't have, and other people don't see it that way. I think we underestimate ourselves, and I think we really can overlook the magic that's already working in us and through us. So today we're going to look at the cards and messages from the spirit realm, your guides, my guides, ancestors, whatever high energies show up at the reading. And we're going to reveal what makes you powerfully unique, spiritually, energetically, soulfully, physically, if that comes up. I think that this energy is really needed in the collective right now. I think we all have a lot of things going on in our minds and in the collective energy. And I think Spirit called this message in to encourage us to go back within ourselves and really feel good about who we are, our strengths, our power, our uniqueness. So I'm really excited for this reading. Pile one, please don't feel too, don't choose by your intuition. Like, don't get too caught up in the archetype. Like, I don't want someone thinking, oh, I wouldn't consider myself a siren, so I'm not going to pick pile one. So that's why I've also chosen crystals, so either of them can call to you, and I will do the channeled call outs from spirit right after. Okay, so pile one, it's this mermaid card called the Siren, and the crystal I chose for you is this labradorite, labradorite? I don't know why I can't say that today. Turtle. It's one of the crystals I do know, and I can't say it. My unique gift is not knowing crystal names or pronouncing them. Pile two, the card is the Mystic with this butterfly and the butterfly on the lily pad crystal. I think this is rose quartz. Pile three, the card is the gem and the lapis lazuli, I think, angel is the crystal I pulled for that. And pile four is the lover card with the swan here and the lotus flower. I think this is moonstone crystal. And if you prefer to choose, so if you already feel drawn to certain piles, please go there. This is definitely a reading you can listen to more than one pile, because there could be a few things in one group and then something else in another group that they really want you to know about yourself. But yep, if you feel drawn to a pile, go with that instinct. If you want confirmation on it, or if you want to see if there's another pile, or if you haven't been able to feel drawn to anything, then I'm going to do call outs from spirit, and this is just downloaded call outs basically that they drop into my mind, just like an airdrop, because they are in a place of no time and space, and they can see the likelihood of who's going to come across this reading, who's likely to choose it, and out of those people, if there is a message that they feel is really important or helpful that someone here, they will just drop into my mind one of something that would call out to you and get your attention. So that's what's going on here. So I'm just going to do this quickly for pile one. Okay, if you get seasick when you're on boats or in water, Marigold I'm hearing, or Miriam. lash, I'm hearing. So if you have something to do with lashes. And I'm just hearing the phrase dream doctor. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if you had a dream of being a doctor, like an actual dream, like in sleeping, or if your dream is to be a doctor, or if you are a doctor, or if people call you dream doctor. No idea. These things only make sense to the people. Okay, moving on to pile 2. If you've been in a float tank recently, or you have an appointment for one, or you've been planning on that. If you were laying in a pool or something, they're just showing me someone laid back in a float tank, and then it changed to one of those pool chairs, like a plastic, donut or something that you would float in. If you were like on vacation or doing that in your backyard. Palm, they said, like palm tree. Okay, if your middle name has the letters Y, O, R, M, E, A, or Z, doesn't have to have all of those, just one of them, or multiple. And then they said if you don't have a middle name, your first name. Pile 3, Tanzania. Came through right away, if that means something to you, if you're in Tanzania. Apples, if you just ate an apple or apple product, like they're showing me a pie or a cruller or a donut, lucky you. Or if you're an apple farmer, like you are on an orchard or you work there. You just keep showing me a big apple. If you have an orange cat, like an orange tab, they keep saying tabby cat, or you just saw one or one's around you. Yeah, and then they said Garfield. I don't know if its name's Garfield or if you like that is that a cartoon? If you have a headache right now, or you've been dealing with headaches. Pile 4. If you've recently been at an amusement park, they're showing me someone on those tilty rides, or like a fair. They're just giving me something with a W, so if your name, they keep saying W and then they keep saying wings, but I don't know what that means. They're showing me a paraglider, like those big wings. If you do that or something, hand gliding, parasailing. I'm seeing the letter J. I'm seeing a locket, if you wear a locket around your neck. Like not a locket, but it could be a locket, but it could be a necklace. They're just dangling it like this, like. And the letter R. And they're showing me someone with blonde hair, like shoulder length blonde hair. But it could be any length, but they specifically showed me shoulder length. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if we were in that whole situation for an hour, it felt like. So go ahead and tune in, and I will very excitedly meet you in your pile. But the way I'm excited for this, you guys. It just feels like fresh and fun, and like we haven't done this before. Okay, right away they want me to get this deck, which I usually only get at the end, but I've never done this particular type of reading. So we're gonna go with the flow. So what makes you unique? What are people magnetically attracted to you about? What rare gifts or abilities do you not even know you possess? What makes pile 1 stand out in a crowd, that they need to hear about themselves. Yeah, what does pile 1 need to hear about themselves? Oh my gosh, that was the weirdest thing. I saw a card flip out, but there's nothing here. What does that mean? That's never happened. Are you a visionary? Like, do you see visions and like projections, or maybe you have this gift and like the card went like this, but it wasn't there in real life. I have to look back. Like, what happened there? That was the weirdest thing. Okay, so potentially you're a visionary. You have a strong inner sight. Maybe you have really strong dreams or visions. Wow, your messages are coming through really strong. So you're also, like in channeled form, before I can even get the cards, you are, one of your gifts and strengths is that you have the patience, even though you wouldn't consider yourself a patient person, but you do not settle. You're very discerning. They're showing me someone waiting, like someone's offering things and they're just, they don't just jump at the first thing. This could be offers, this could be people, this could just be in your own daily aesthetic or life. Like, they're showing me someone furniture shopping and instead of just going in and they want to get it over with and buying the first couch they see or something that looks okay, you're the type of person who's like, you're very measured. Like, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to keep looking until I find the perfect thing. And because of that, you've curated a lot of really beautiful things. Like, you may have a very beautiful, tailored and unique wardrobe aesthetic. Like, it doesn't have to be a certain way. Like, when I said tailored, I just mean it looks great on you. It's tailored to you. It could be whatever aesthetic is yours, but you don't just like randomly buy things or randomly throw things on. You have an eye where you're like, I want this perfect hoodie. I want this perfect dress for this event. And that's something that you do in all areas of your life. So even in like relationships and friendships, oh, that's the one. You're fine with being alone. You don't, even with friendships, like, you won't just hang around anybody because you don't want to be alone. You're like, I want the right people for me, the right places, the right outfits. You're very discerning. Chance. Allow the sea to wash its chest of wonders ashore. You never know what the tide may bring in. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to put this kind of here, like, oh yeah, and you have the mermaid. And this is the mermaid card. Oh, I didn't even catch that. Sorry, my bad. But I love that. Okay, let's see what else comes out here. I feel like they're going to get to this card in a little bit. Allow the sea to wash its chest of wonders ashore. You never know what the tide may bring in. Unfinished symphony and fork in the road. Yeah, with this chance. So I get with the unfinished symphony that you're the type of person who's not, like I said, you're not afraid to change. Because first when chance came out, I thought it said change, and then you got fork in the road. So it's a very similar word in the sense of you're not afraid to, you're open. You're not afraid to let life shift and let the sands shift as it needs to shift and let the cycles come and go. You're very okay and comfortable with if things are left unfinished. So if you start a friendship and it becomes toxic, or you see it's not working for your lifestyle, you're like, okay, that's the end of that for me, and I respect that, and I'm fine with leaving it. You're not going to push things. You're not going to try and push a square peg into a round hole. That's not your vibe. You're like, let me sit back, let me see what happens. If this, fixes itself, if I make a few attempts and the energy is returned, then we'll see. But you're not an over doer or an overgiver or any of these things. You're very measured in the energy that you give out. And with the fork in the road, I see that you are super open to taking a chance on things. You could be a traveler. They're showing me here with like this in a past reading, I call this a mystical goat. Oh, and is there a turtle on its horn? there's an owl here, there's a monkey hanging off of here. I feel like you're the type of person who, there's all these road signs. You may be very adventurous and like have traveled. Like I'm seeing you're the type of person who would like live in their van and go on road trips, or just pick up and backpack across like Europe, or, you know, and even as a solo traveler. Now, if I'm saying these things and you're like, no, I've never done those things, this could be something in your future timeline, or this could be an energy within you that you don't see you have. Where maybe when you're older, you're the type of person who is like, yeah, you know what? I have always wanted to go see the Mayan ruins, and I am going to go do that alone. So this could be just something that's lying dormant within you that you haven't had to, you know, pull out of your toolkit yet, so to speak. Oh, sorry, I hit my light. I'm just going to get a drink. I'm a bit froggy. Okay. What else do we got here? I want to get this deck. Oh, what else for pile one? When was the last time I couldn't stop laughing or smiling? Yeah. Go back to a moment when you laughed so hard you almost peed your pants, or did. Feel the laughter in your body, your cheeks hurting and eyes watering. Maybe there was even a snort or two. Laughter is healing, and it reminds us to take life less seriously and find the joy in the little things. Note to self, laugh more often. Today's soul action, make somebody laugh today. Yeah, it's funny that came out, funny not funny, because I almost picked the comic. I was between the Siren and the comic for your pile, because I could feel that there was some sort of trait that you have where you bring humor in, and I kind of see it in like a non-obvious way. Like maybe you're like a little bit, like you're giving a little bit of black cat energy, but you don't mean to be. Where, like I said, you're just kind of reserved, you're okay with things, you know, like you're not looking for affection, you're not looking for attention, you're not seeking other people's validation, you're just doing your own thing. It's not black cat energy on purpose in a manipulative way. It's just like how a black cat would be a black cat. But I see that comes with like a bit of this dry, really witty humor sometimes, where you just throw out these like really sharp one-liners that are like, people didn't see that. I just see you like sitting at a table with like shades on at a restaurant, and people are kind of talking all around you, and all of a sudden you join the chat and you just fire off this like really clever, witty, nailed it type of like observation, and everyone like pauses and just like bursts into like laughter, and then everyone's just like crying laughing. I see that. That's actually making me like so happy, like that whole energy. Okay. What is this? What else could this mean? There are multiple ways to look at every situation. Our first reaction is usually rooted in our fears and limiting beliefs. Look at the situation today by stepping outside of a trigger and asking, what else could this mean? Is there something your soul is calling you to learn in this moment, or is that a pattern? Okay, yeah, I feel like this was going to come up. That is ready to be broken. Walk in the other person's shoes, see it from their perspective. If it doesn't involve anyone else, just ask yourself, how is life happening for me right now? And where am I being called to use my voice right now? You have a soul script that was written to be spoken. Yeah, your story matters, and it's time for you to share it with the world. Share your story with at least one person today. Be brave and speak your truth. Your voice will be the catalyst for healing in others. I feel like you guys could be from, I can't remember which pile it was, but a past reading, like kind of recent, and it was about being creative or like expressing yourself. I'm kind of feeling like that could be you guys. But with this what else could this mean card, and the what pattern is ready to be broken, when I was talking to Spirit prepping for this reading, we were talking about how we tend to develop these patterns within us that is like our go-to reaction for things. For example, like say you're dating someone and they're a very busy person and they don't text a lot or something, or the texts don't feel like how you want the text to feel, or how your ex was, or your last, you know, and then you immediately pull back and are like, oh, okay, well, he's not, you know, he or she is not, and I'm not saying that it's anything negative. It's just like, they're still checking in, they're still polite, they're still, but as soon as you don't get the exact response that you would give, this is an example. This is not that you do this, but this is just an example that they gave me. Then the person would pull back their energy and be like, oh, okay, well then I'm not going to reply for 4 hours. I'm not going to reply till tomorrow. And Spirit was showing me how these are patterns that we kind of create to protect ourselves, but they're not always helpful, because now you're closing off your energy when that person, it had probably like nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? They're just busy or doing their thing or whatever. And now there's a new dynamic that you've introduced into the situation. This is just an example, but it's funny that this came up. So I feel like one of these hidden unique gifts or traits that we're going to discover here is also, once you kind of embrace it and embody it, it also may reveal a pattern that maybe is not helpful that you sometimes do. I'm going to get one of these surrender cards, because this is not supposed to be too much about things you need to change. This is about how amazing you are. But I think it will serve you to change this pattern, because I think you also don't like that you do this. Yeah, obsessive overthinking. That's kind of what I'm getting. And I don't, you could have like an ADHD or like be on some sort of neurodivergent spectrum. Because I want to say it's obsessive and like, you know, one of like obsessive, but I think you, like I said, with that text explanation, you may over read into things when there's nothing there. And I think if that's a pattern that if you could release, would bring you a lot of freedom. If you're obsessing over a person or situation, turn the dilemma over to Spirit. Doing so will help bring you clarity or even solve the problem. Okay, let's get more here. Oh, I know what I want to get. This deck I've been waiting to get. Okay, more about what makes pile 1 magnetic, unique, hidden gifts. I didn't even know that they had. Yeah, okay. I love how this just went right on the floor. Hold on. 2. Creativity. Yeah, I'm not surprised I came up with this. Where am I being called to use my voice in dreams? Didn't we have something about, what was that about the dream? Am I imagining something? Did I not say like you could be someone who has strong dreams? I don't know why that's completely escaping me. Yeah, oh yeah, the visionary thing at the beginning. Like where I saw the card and it wasn't there. Yeah, I feel like Spirit could speak to you in your dreams. I don't know if you already know this, but this could be something you're not aware of. Where try this. If you don't dream or remember your dreams, before you go to bed, just say, I'd like to be able to, when I wake up, recall any dreams that are important to me. I have like really, really intense dreams, and they're very helpful. Sometimes I will dream about something that I just need to do in the waking, like call somebody or something like this. So that could help to ask to be able to recall it. And then creativity. Yeah, you're super duper creative. I mean, we all have creativity within us, but you guys are on another level. Like you guys are the type of person who, like I said, you would go into a thrift store and be able to make like just a like wicked outfit out of whatever's there. Like you're very resourceful, because I feel like you've had to be resourceful. I feel like you've lived a life where you had to make lemons out of lemonades quite frequently, and so where someone else just sees like a pile of trash or like nothing, you're like, I could make a home from this. Like I could survive and I could thrive. I think that's really, really cool. I want to get, do I want to use it? Wait, do I want, I don't know why. I'm like, not sure if I want that deck. Okay, hold on. Let me get, sorry. Let me move my, I forgot to move my iPad earlier. And it's in my way. I want to get these cards. I just felt strong 3 of Swords energy, which is like heartbreak. Like it just, I literally felt like a little knife went in my heart. It was great. And right away, then they dropped Three of Swords into my mind. So you could be dealing with heartbreak, or you could be someone who is just put up a little bit of a wall. I think there's a short going up today from a past reading where I talk about this person who has this hard shell, and you had a difficult life and circumstances that caused you to create that hard shell. They're just showing me, this might not be for everybody, but they are showing me someone who was in a situation where you were like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. I see. And it could have been like kind of at formative years, so like a high school girlfriend or boyfriend or friend. Like they're showing me you liked a boy or a girl, and then you told your best friend, and then they went after them. One of those things where you're just like, oh, okay, I see you. Like, who does that, right? Like, who does that? Sorry if you've done that, but who does that? And you were just like, I think you realize at a very young age, not everybody has the same heart that you do. And like, you would just never do that. Like, that would never, in your realm of possibility, would you actively go after somebody else who's close to you, when they just said that they were interested in them? Do you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like such a betrayal on so many levels, even though that relationship, you know, the person that you had a crush on, it probably wasn't important to you anymore. It's just that you couldn't believe that. Or it could have been later in life when there was, say, infidelity or cheating, and you're just like, I would never take action on something like that, like step over that line. And I think you have been hurt, and I think that has created a little bit of that black cat energy, or like betrayed by like business partners or people just not coming through. We're going into spiritual stuff here. The blue flame, spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. Yeah, so with back to the whole spiritual thing that we started with this visionary, this inner seer, and the seeing visions. It could be in your dreams, it could be in your real life, it could be just a deep knowing that you have, like a clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, and claircognition, they're saying. And look up the clairs, they're saying to me. There's some good readers who have readings on the clairs. I haven't watched them, but I've seen them come up, just because I'm familiar with them myself. But Google the clairs, like CLAIR gifts, the spirit saying, and see which ones resonate with you. Because you may not realize, like, you may be like, oh, I do that all the time. Like, for myself, I didn't realize it wasn't normal, in quotations, to have. I thought everybody had claircognizance and sentience because I was born that way. So like, you assume that, and we all do have these gifts, but I mean developed, that they were like at the forefront of your, you know, use. So you may have certain spiritual gifts already developed that you don't realize you're using because you didn't realize they were considered a spiritual gift. You just thought everybody thought that way. Like, I remember telling my sister, like, yeah, like, I can see the picture in my mind. Like, you know, she was like, how did you know that? And I said, I just saw it in my mind. Like, I thought everybody had that, and I had to describe it to her. So look that up, Spirit saying, because you have a very spiritual side to yourself here with this spontaneous awakening, activation, and integration time. I feel like you're going through a time in your life where you are discovering, if you're not already, you may be like, oh yeah, I went through this last year, I went through this 2 years ago. You may be like, I already channel, I'm a card reader, I read my own cards, I channel for friends, I channel just for myself, because you don't have to use your gifts as a what is this, like, work? I don't know what to call this category of what I do now, but as a skill. You may just use it for your own, you know, regular life, which is what it's for too, and not realize that you have these spiritual gifts. Also, they're showing me some of you may have started to go more inwards because you are receiving activations and integrations, which I find I always pull back out of social activities more while I'm calibrating to that, because it's weird. Like, you don't feel like, you don't know how to get creative. Can we have another creativity card here? I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, because when your spiritual gifts are activating, like, no one tells you. It's not like you get a letter in the mail saying you're getting clarification is activating or whatever. You're receiving visions. Like, so it can be very like a time of the unknown. And I find that I tend to pull back in social situations from socializing because I don't really understand myself anymore a little bit. It's hard to explain. It's like you understand yourself more, but in social situations, it's harder to mask. Now you're exploring yourself and discovering yourself in this new way. So then when all of a sudden you're in a group setting, it feels like you're not being your authentic self to just be like talking about random things. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but if you've been through that, you know what I'm saying. Comment down below if you know what I'm saying about that. Okay, you've got creative again, and you have creativity that popped out earlier. And then you have, was it this one? Oh, this one. Yeah, your story matters. Share it with the world. I feel like that's not the first time you heard that. And it's not the first time you got. Now, the word creative, if you're like me, the way I have resistance to the word creative, I feel like this will make no sense, but let me go on a rant because you may understand what I'm saying if you're like me. Growing up, the word creativity, and even very recently, and I still feel this way, to be honest. And I think it's because the man-made word creativity, I don't feel represents what I feel when I'm being creative or expressing or creating something. And I feel it's a very boring, flat word. And so anytime someone says, let's get creative or use your creative muscles or something, like in school, I really had so much resistance to this word. Like, I did not want to be creative. I would resist and rebel being what they thought, they would say, get creative. And I was like, what? Like, use more colors? Like, I don't understand what you mean. And it's only as like this kind of age, an adult, like an older adult, I don't know how to explain that. I'm 43, but like not when I was in my 20s, that I really started to squeeze the creative juices in the creative world. I don't know what that means, but, and I was like, oh, this is being creative. Like, and I just feel like that word sucks. I would like to rewrite that word. Let's find a better word. Let me see if Spirit can give us a better word. Okay, they said passionate, but again, I don't love that word either. Expressive. They're gonna get back to me with that, they said, because they said I'm not gonna hear, because I'm like, when I'm in a frequency of like impress me, I'm not gonna hear what they're trying to say. So we're gonna have to go back to that until my energy fixes itself. So let's get back to that creative thing, because I feel like you're kind of like me with having that resistance to it for some reason. Like, it's just this feeling that it's like, when someone says get creative, I feel like they want me to like pick up a book, a sketchbook and crayons and like draw a picture. And that feels like so useless to me, like, unless I was an artist. But I feel like it's not deep enough for what I want to say, about something or do or create. Does that make sense? So I feel like you have that energy. I feel like you're being called to express some sort of creative talent, but you have like a inherent hesitation towards it for some reason. So let's just find out more about that, instead of me just repeating the same useless commentary about it. Oh, yeah. How many of these are going on the ground? Wait. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I saw the blue flames. Pleiades, double mission, channeling, and uplifting humanity. So you're the kind of card, this is a very interesting spread, the way these cards are laying out. Did I say you're the kind of card? You're the type of people that you may have received messages in other readings from other channelers, or maybe here, about using your story to uplift humanity. I feel like you've been through something, or you have a skill, whether it's channeling, because it says double mission, channeling, and uplifting humanity. So like I said, you may already be carved spiritual teachers, mystics, Reiki healers, or you may be feeling called to that, or you may just be that type of person who you have a word for people. So you're like at a group setting and you see someone in the corner and you just sense this person needs to talk, and you go over and you strike up conversation, and all of a sudden they're telling you their whole life story, like, has this happened before? And you say a few words and they're like, wow, like I needed that, thank you. And you're like, I don't really feel like I did anything. But that's uplifting humanity and channeling. It means that you received the nudge from spirit, you took action on it, and you were able to be like an earth angel, essentially, where you're able to support and intervene in a situation. You may find yourself like, you know, people are stopped on the side of the road and need directions, or, you know, you kind of just find yourself in situations where you're being of use, but you're not actively looking for these situations. You just come across them and you're able to help in some way, and you may not even see the impact that you've had. Like if you believe in the life review, when we, you know, pass to the non-physical, a lot of people who have near-death experiences and different channelers have the same kind of message, that their understanding is that your guides or God or whatever you believe in, or everybody who's there in the oneness, you kind of get to review, because there's no time and space, all of your impact that you had on other people's lives, and you kind of see it dovetail off into like, oh, this one thing you said to this person created this chain of events that, you know, benefited this person and that person, and had all of this positive benefit and impact on their life that from that one thing that you did, you know, from donating, you know, giving $5 to a homeless person, or helping out at that charity, or giving a friend a ride home, or answering the phone when someone called in, you know, need, or whatever. So it could be something very specific you do, like starting some sort of charity or platform, or sharing your story, or like being a spiritual leader or something like this, or teacher, or offering your spiritual services. Or it could be just you living your regular everyday life wherever you work and whatever you do, and just you being you is having this uplifting humanity. Sorry, I just saw a deck here that I didn't even know was here, and I don't even remember having, so we're getting it. I don't even know what this is. I'm super curious. Okay, can we talk about more of pile 1's unique gifts? Whoa, okay. I'm telling you, your cards hop out. Oh no. You may like the color purple, they said when I hit that. Oh, career change. Oh, we have used this before, because I remember this card. I don't know why I can't remember the back of this deck. You're embarking upon a career that brings you the joy and the joy and abundance you desire and deserve. Yeah, I can see that with these creativity cards coming out. Options. What the heck? Consider the career possibilities open to you. Is this not a career deck? Look at this. Music. Oh, it does kind of talk about different. No, it's like flowers, support, family, light and love. No, it's got everything in here. Trust, let go. You got 2 career cards. So you got, and well, ironically, I almost did a career reading today. That was the other option. So I feel like maybe this message needed to come out for you. Consider the career possibilities that are open to you, career change. So if that's nowhere in your realm, then that message probably wouldn't be for you. But if you're like, oh yeah, because you also have chance, allow the sea to wash its wonders ashore. You never know what the tide may bring in, and then you have this creativity. But I don't want this to take a career change, but that's a really powerful message coming through if that does resonate for you. But let's get more information. Let me just check the time, because sometimes not 30 minutes in. Oh, sorry, my pillow. I swear it feels like 5 minutes. Okay, so we are going to close off your reading, because my iPhone won't hold that much storage. But if you want more messages, please pick another pile. They're saying, because they're like, we got a lot to say to you. I feel like there's a lot. I feel like we barely unearthed like 2% of what your stuff is, what makes you magnetic and unique. Sometimes when I listen back to the reading, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, a lot did come out. But if you felt drawn to another pile, I would say you definitely have messages there. Oh, look at this koala spirit. Spirit has a plan. So if there is something you've been asking about, I think you're just getting like a little side message here with this, where am I being called to use my voice, the whole creativity thing. I want to get one more card for you about that creativity thing. Oh, I know what I wanted to get for you. Yeah, one of these spirit guide things. Well, we're going to have to take that now. When there are questions you need assistance with, go inward, sit with yourself, meditate on the question, ask for our help also. Then trust your intuition, as most often the answer and guidance will be delivered to you intuitively, and we are with you always. So if someone needed to hear that, that's a really strong message coming out from your guides. And yeah, let's get one of these. Unshakable inner peace cards. But before I forget, regarding this creativity thing, I think you're just like me, where you think of creativity like if someone says, oh, be creative, you're picturing like quilting and watercolor painting, you know. But I think your type of creativity is probably more like my creativity, where like my creativity really activated when I started my ASMR channel and this channel, but specifically my ASMR channel. And up to that point, I had no interest in ASMR. I watched it, you know, occasionally to work, but I didn't ever think about creating it. And all of a sudden, I just had this like flash in a pan of like, I want to do this. And I saw how it dovetailed all of my skills, my aesthetic, my love for product, my love for marketing, my love for packaging, my love for sounds, my love for relaxation, my love for self-care, like my love for filming and editing, and like it took all, and like communicating, like I have a strong affinity for the written word, and like I love writing the descriptions, I love writing them in here too. And all of a sudden I just saw how that allowed me to express my creative side, but it was something I didn't see coming at all. So I feel like, and to me, that feels creative. But I always just felt like, oh, unless I'm going to sit down with, you know, markers and a pen and draw something, I'm not being creative. So I feel like the way that you're going to be expressing yourself, or the way you do express yourself, because you could already be embodying this, or this could be something that Spirit's highlighting for you, is not the norm. Like it's something unusual. That's very specific and unique to you, that you are super talented at and incredible at, that you may not have ever thought of, you know, monetizing or working with or making more than a hobby, or you may not even have expressed it. Like they're showing me, you know, those people who can write with the, I don't know how they do it, but it's some sort of like tool, and they write cursive in the back of people's cars, like their name or a saying, like, and it's like you only get one go with that. It's something like very unique like that you're good at, that I feel like maybe is a little bit of an unearthed, whatever, undiscovered power that you can harness for not only like monetizing, like I said, career, but just because it's incredible and it makes you you, and it makes you like so unique. Final card for pile 1, but like I said, whatever you felt strongly about for another pile, I feel like we're going to get to part 2 on your energy is like very layered and in depth. Like you're very deep. No one would ever call you shallow. Okay, and you got this card 25. It's all in divine order. Allow. How can you relax into the flow and go more with the current of life? And you have the Spirit has a plan card. For some reason, you're getting these like other side messages. So I feel like you could be a little bit overthinking, like we talked about, because even your situation is taking over the reading. Like Spirit's having a conversation about you and how incredible you are, and then your thoughts about some problem you're trying to solve keep coming in, because Spirit keeps telling you, when there are questions you need assistance with, we are there. Ask and it will be delivered. Spirit has a plan. It's all in divine order. So I feel like you kind of can't help yourself, but which I can't either, so like no shade. I'm the same way. I will mull on a situation until I find a solution. That could be your superpower. Also, you could be a problem solver. You could be able to find really creative solutions to things, like I said before. But they are going to close out your reading there, because I will just talk it, over and over, because I just love being in this energy. But I'm going to move to another pile. If you are going there, I will see you there. If not, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And otherwise, I will see you in another reading on another day. Be well. Pile 2, hello, you have the little butterfly crystal and the mystic card. And let's find out what makes you unique, what makes you you, what's magnetic about you, what do you not see about yourself that's incredible and hidden and rare, or a talent or something like this. Let's start with this one for you. Whoa. Reflect, okay, and you have the mystic card. Oh, interesting, you have 2 swans here. I wonder if you have messages in pile 4, because they had the swan lovers card. Spirit, what makes pile 2 unique? Shadow. Oh, it's funny because I almost picked the shadow card for this. Pile 1, I almost picked the comic card for them, and then we got the sense of humor thing. And then for you guys, I almost picked the shadow archetype, and then we got the shadow card. So it's funny how your messages come out anyway. Yeah, I kept hearing the phrase uniquely yours. I don't know what that means, but they said it 3 times because I didn't say it. Not just completely taking out the crystals. Are you a Taurus? Some of you might have a Taurus energy. They just showed me bull in a china shop, like how it just plowed through these crystals. Okay, mystic, shadow, reflect. What makes pile 2 magnetic and unique that they don't see about themselves? Karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Okay. So do you find yourself always in those situations with people where you're like, gosh, could life be a little easier sometimes? Like, why am I always in these really polarizing relationships where there's like drama and toxicity, and maybe you've had like a lot of those relationships? If that's you, I feel you. I would probably pick this pile. With the mystic, yeah, I probably would have picked this pile. It could be like family, friendships. Like, you look at other people and you're like, why is everybody else just like, holding hands and singing, lolly looly, and I'm over here like slamming doors and trying to figure out why nothing can just be simple. You may not be in that energy now, but you may have been in your past. Awakening, energetic upgrades, a new way of being. Ooh, I love that. Integration. Let's get one from this deck. Lineage of the Rose, moved by the goddess, here for this. I've never had this. Moved by the goddess. I love that. Here for this. Soul call, gather. Okay, this is a very spiritual pile, but also I feel like you like the finer things in life. That could, again, that Taurus energy coming up. Do you like always get your nails done? They've a couple times they've just showed me nails. So I feel like maybe you're very, on a physical level, like you keep yourself really together. You like to have like that goddess energy stood out for me. Not that that's what goddess energy is about, but Venusian energy, like appreciation for the finer things in life. Yeah, milk and honey and serendipity coming out. I'm taking this as that finer things in life card. Like milk and honey back in the day those were luxuries. Those were like, I feel like you're someone, instead of just taking a quick shower to get it over with, like I would probably do, you will do the whole, like one of those baths that people show on like TikTok and YouTube shorts with like, they put the bath bomb and they have the tray with the roses. And I feel like you really know how to aesthetically bring beauty into a moment. And serendipity, I feel like you're lucky. Like you may really resonate with lucky girl syndrome, this 4-leaf clover. I feel like you may have found a 4-leaf clover before. They do exist. I think I've had one, I think. And I know my friend also has found one before. But I just feel like you are you may not realize this about yourself, but I feel like you're walking through life with like this grace and beauty and ease, but internally you may feel really the opposite. But I feel like that's how people perceive you, because you just embody and hold a lot of natural beauty and grace and charm and ease about life. Like, they just keep showing me someone walking through a room like so like feminine, and this is just about an energy. This is not about gender, but and just feeling because I almost said confident, but I don't know that you feel that way, but that's how people perceive you, because you move with such a grace and confidence, and you're not rushed. Like, you're not one of those people who's like, okay, sorry, I'm late. You come into the room and like breathe before you say anything, and people see you and people sense your presence. You may feel like a lot of people look at you a lot, and you're like, what, do I have something in my teeth? Why is people looking at me? Is my hair standing up? It's because when you enter a room or a space, or even when you drive by in your vehicle, if you or ride your bike or whatever, walk by, people like sense it, and they look like, what is this? They energetically can feel your presence. Your presence is like, it has a weight to it. Like, if you can't be unnoticed if you go into a room. And for some of you, you may have social awkwardness and you may not like that. And that could be your shadow aspect that's coming up, where you're like uncomfortable being in the spotlight, but at the same time, you're naturally in the spotlight, and you're just like, why does everyone look at me when I come in a room? And I don't want anyone looking at me. Like, I would prefer the opposite. But this could be your shadow aspect, where you are working through that uncomfortability with being seen and having your light seen. Oh yeah, because you have this awakening, a new way of being, energetic upgrade, soul growth. And a part of you, I feel like you are uncomfortable with being seen because of all these karmic relationships, where you're like, please, I do not want to draw another person to me right now, because I'm still healing from the last person that I drew to me. You know, you feel me? Like, you're like, I don't even know how to trust myself anymore, because I thought I was picking, and that's what karmic relationships are, right? We're meant to grow from them and learn from them and work through things and close off cycles. And if you believe in karmic relationships, not everybody does, right? But even if you don't believe in karmic relationships, whatever you believe about relationships, are typically, people would agree that we're meant to, learn something, experience something with that person, and then when that cycle's over, hopefully we don't have to repeat that kind of lesson again, because we've learned from it. Just like school, you hope you don't have to repeat that class because you learned that, and you move on to something new, right? I don't know where I was going with that, but oh yeah, you could be almost like not afraid, but kind of closed off to relationships because of all of the challenging dynamics that you've had to deal with. But at the same time, you attract a lot of people. Leadership, yeah, I could see that. Like I said, you walk into a room and everyone looks at you. You're a natural leader. You're 100% a natural leader. For the leadership card to come out in this reading is like so telling, because it just is showing us that you are that natural born leader. You are the one that other people look to. Like, you could be the one of your friends who everyone's like, oh, well, did you get that? What color are you getting? Did you order? What are you ordering? And you could be like, why is everyone asking me? Like, get what you want. But it's because people respect your opinion and they admire you. So and you're very mysterious, like with this mystic energy and the reflect and shadow. Like, could you be more mysterious? Reflect, that's like a reflection. Like, I don't even think I think people use you as a mirror because they want to know your opinion of them a little bit. They want to see themselves through your eyes and opinion, and that could be where a lot of these karmic relationships come from, because they want like your approval a little bit, because I think like you're very well respected and you are a natural leader, like I said. But I think you don't want that position. Like, I think you're just like, please leave me alone. Do what you want. Ninth house exploration coming up with card 47. And you have a new way of being. I don't know what this white fluff is. I feel like you're really at a point in your life where you are really exploring who you are on the inside, but also your external world. What type of relationships suit you? What I think you've gone through the first initial phases of life, and you're like, okay, well, we know what works and what doesn't work. And I think you're like, well, I think you know what doesn't work. I think you're still trying to find out like what does work a little bit. What type of friendships, what type of, you may have pulled back like so much of your energy kind of like to a reset where you're like, okay, I'm single. I don't have a large group of friends. Me and my relationship with my family is at an arm's length. It's almost like you're like, okay, that all didn't serve me. And so now what? And I think you're really in a new way of being, energetic upgrades, polarity, soul growth. Like you're exploring, you're really discovering. And I think you're eventually going to come out of the shadow and learn to love your shadow side and what the light aspects of your shadow can be and how to work with them and how to integrate them. Let's get a message from your guides. Ooh, I just got really hot. Ooh. You could be physically like very objectively attractive. Like people could be like, oh my God, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're handsome. Ooh. And that could annoy you because you could be like, no one sees me on the inside. Like, I don't think that you feel like anyone has really gotten through that exterior layer. They kind of stop at that exterior layer. And you're like, is anyone gonna take the time to get to know me, to really find out my shadow side, to really find out what makes me tick, to really find out, to explore me, to find out who I really am. But I feel like you also inherently know that you're discovering that about yourself. But you can do a lot of healing through relationships. I'm not saying you could be in a relationship currently, or that could be on the table. Oh, again, look at this. Oh my gosh. Don't lose sight of this truth. You came here to evolve and grow. Oh, you have soul growth, a new way of being. It is necessary to experience the difficult times. That is when you will grow the most. And there is always light at the end of the tunnel. So be proud of your journey. Yeah, I feel this for you guys. I feel like I said, like you've pulled everything back because you're like, is there any way that this could be, not full of conflict for a second? What else about soul? Yeah, what else about soul too? Yeah, they just showed me the butterflies twice here. You're giving a lot of transformative energy. I feel like you've had to transform multiple times in your life. Maybe through childhood was one transformation, and then middle school was one transformation. Your early 20s was another transformation, and then wherever you are now, you feel that you're at another integration and new way of being, another transformative. You could have a butterfly, the tattoo they're showing me, or been thinking about getting that because you resonate with that so deeply, with the caterpillar struggling out of the cocoon, which of course gives the caterpillar strength to use the wings that it's developing. Otherwise it would not be able to fly if it didn't have to push out of the cocoon. But I'm sure while the caterpillar's in the cocoon, it's thinking, what the heck is this BS? Oh, okay. Card 37, gray. Endings are inevitable. Yeah. I feel like you feel that way. That's why you've kind of been pulling back into yourself a lot. Gray could be like your last name, because that's unusual that word came up. Okay, castle, it's time for healing, not war. Okay, and universe, we're all just stardust. Yeah, with this mystic card. This castle, yeah. It's time for healing, not war. Man, I feel like you've been through it. I feel like you've been through it. Let's get some of these. So what that pile 2 has learned in all of these challenges and conflicts, can you highlight for them, Spirit, that is really now their superpower, their strength, their unique gift that they carried through all of this, that they developed through all of this, that they can now harness and use? I feel like I saw magic. Oh, ghost. Oh, creativity. Okay, pile 2 had creativity. The ghost card. And this ghost card is gray. What does this mean? Okay, they're showing me a channeled thing. Hold on a second, I'm gonna put that together. They're showing me you moving like a ghost, like undetected. and but it's like powerful. Okay, and then you have the creativity card. Okay, let me tune into what they're saying about this because this is very interesting. I've never experienced this energy and I don't want to give it less time than it deserves here. Okay, you have the gray card, then you got the gray ghost card, and for some reason they're connecting these. So let me just channel this, and they keep showing me you moving through life very ethereal, like a ghost. Like it's like you understand that your density is not real. That you understand that your power is in your etheric, non-physical traits. You're becoming to understand this. They're showing me in a video game how you can go in ghost mode, and that's like a superpower because you can move through all of, oh, okay, I see. You can, wow, that's powerful. You can move through all of the obstacles in ghost mode, like you can pass through them. So your superpower, this one I didn't expect to come up, but this, I feel this is really going to resonate for you. If you look back on all the challenges, it's like you were unscathed. And you may have had to experience way more hardship and challenge than the average person would. And the reason for that is because you have this spiritual ability to go ghost mode, where everything, there's a book called The Untethered Soul, I think, by Michael Singer? I don't know if I'm just pulled that out of the air. So if that's not right, I'm sorry. Sometimes I get one word off or something. But that's what I saw. And I have read this book. I don't remember if that's the author. I'm terrible at names of anything. It's like a channeling problem I have. Because my mind's it's kind of like ghost mode actually, because my mind's always in the etheric. I have a hard time holding on to finite facts. But I am being told I've read this book a very long time ago, like in my 20s. They're showing me the cover has a horse on it, and I feel like I've seen that before. So either I've read it or I've seen it. The point is, they're telling me in that book, there's a concept where the author talks about letting things pass through you. And if someone throws an insult at you, if you have a challenging situation, if there's a negative, you let it pass through you. Don't let it, and just picture it passing over you. Passing through you, and you don't hold on to it. And that's what my guides are showing me your superpower is with this ghost mode, that you may tend to ghost people too. They're saying some of you ghost people because you're like, no, don't be crazy. If you're acting crazy, you have if someone's acting toxic, you're just like, we're done with this conversation. Like, you don't feel any way by being like, that's not acceptable, and now you have no energy for me. No access to my energy. That was over the line. But I see your superpower being that even though you may feel like, of course, you were hurt, or of course, like traumas and things, you're so invincible is what they keep showing me. They just keep showing me like you just going through life and you're just passing through everything. And it's like you can't be harmed. You take things much less densely than someone else would is the only way I can say it. And so for that reason, you can navigate in shadowlands. You could be someone who, for instance, would thrive as like a mental health worker or a trauma worker, or working with victims of like abuse or addiction and things like this, because you're like, that doesn't scare me. I've been there. I've seen it. I know how to transmute it, and I know how to let it pass over me and not take it as my own. I know that I'm a divine container of love and light, and that nothing can penetrate that. I really feel, if you haven't learned that's what your superpower is. That's just so unusual. Like, I have never received that channeled information before. And then with this castle, it's a time for healing, not war. Like I said, she's like holding the ash from this ruins around her. I do feel like you're going into this phase of your life where you're like, okay, no more conflict, no more war. There might be small things, but I feel like you really have learned, like I said, how to transmute them and not take other people's projections on as your own. And you've done a lot of healing from that, like things that were said in your childhood, things, you know, where in like your relationships where you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe these things about myself and I refuse to. And you've come back to your own truth about knowing the spirit. And that probably pushed you into the spiritual path, this awakening and this energetic upgrades. Because there might have been so much pain that you were like, this can't be real. I refuse to believe this about myself. And so you tuned into the true nature of yourself and you found your truth there. They are shutting off your reading there. I really enjoyed that. I hope you found that helpful. If you are going to another pile, there could be messages, more messages for you there if you were drawn to one. If not, comment down below, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. But I love hearing from you guys. If anything resonated, it really makes my day. And it helps me as a reader to tune into the collective that's gathering here. Oh yeah, we had this soul call gather. And you could really resonate with goddess energy too. There may be certain goddesses that you resonate with. They're saying that you might want to look up and study and kind of activate their energies within you. Like, I think Kali, is Kali a goddess? There's just that word came to me. You may want to look that up. I'm not sure how to spell that. I want to say Kali, but I feel like there's an H in it or something too. I'm not sure. Thanks guys for being here. I'll see you in another group if you're going there. Otherwise, I'll see you in another reading on another day. Be well. Hello, pile 3. Thank you for being here. You have the little angel and the gem card. Now your name could be Gem, Gemma, something like that. People could call you a gem. That's just coming up for a couple of you. Let's go ahead and find out what makes you unique? What makes you special? Talents, skills, gifts you may not even realize you have. What makes you magnetic to other people and stand out? So before I pull a card, I'm getting a channeled message that you could be like a wild card to people. Like, they may not know what to expect. People may say that to you, or they may just be thinking it. Like, I never know what's going to come out of this person's mouth. That you could be just very unique in the way you perceive the world and the way you communicate. Like, you're not just, you know, a cookie cutter. It could be in looks as well as perspective. Okay, we have Ask Body, the Outlaw. Not surprised the Outlaw came out. That's the energy I get here. The Magi, same. I don't know what Ask Body has to do with anything. I'll find out. Yeah, that Outlaw Rebel energy. And I don't see you doing it purposefully, like to be, unless someone like pushes your buttons, then you'll be like, oh, you thought we're not doing that. I'm not going to react in the way that you are trying to get me to react, because you don't want to give them the satisfaction of triggering you, you know. But I see you just courage. I see you marching to the beat of your own drum, for sure. Healing chaos. Okay, so that's why you have the Ask Body card. Okay, a lot coming through here. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the very beginning. Okay. You could have lost a lot of friends or relationships or family support of other people when you get in your outlaw energy. Because the thing about you is you're unique and rare. This is like finding a rare gem in this bramble here. You see on this card, it's like this is hidden. And I think that you seeing world from your unique perspective, you're also very strongly led by your inner compass, by your north node. You may not know what it is that's your life's purpose, but you know your life's purpose is following your own heart's calling and impulses. And this could have gotten you in trouble as a youngster. Like, I see you bringing home like animals or stray friends, or just being like, I'm doing this, teacher tells you to paint this picture and you're like, oh, I painted this, and they're like, that wasn't the assignment. I see a lot of that energy where you're just like kind of confounded as to why everybody else is not following their own heart and why everyone has such a problem with you following your own heart and your own impulses in the moment. I feel like not only are you healing chaos within your own life, but you bring an energy of healing to chaotic situations. Like you could be the person that a friend, for example, they're showing me like you have a falling out with a friend because maybe you followed your own heart on something and you refuse to back down as you should. And they were like, well, you're not a friend then if you won't do what I say, and blah, blah, blah. And then this friend goes through a really difficult time and you're the first person they call. And like you haven't spoken for years and they're just like crying on the phone and you're like, okay, I'll be right there. Because you have that type of energy where even though people want to reject it because they're like, no, like do as I say, like follow, like color in the lines. They also, in a crisis, need that because they know your energy is so stable and sure and it's so tethered to spirit because you're tethered to your compass point. And so then in emergency situations or chaotic situations, you bring that healing because you're not afraid to go into the tornado. See, this is one of my favorite cards. The tornado stirs up the soil, even though it's extraordinarily destructive, it also stirs up the soil and it brings new life, and it can bring a very transformative energy when the healing chaos comes around. I also feel like I said, you bring that into other people's lives because I think you're a natural disruptor. I'm getting with this tornado. The tornado is a natural disruption. It's not meaning to be that way. That is the nature of its being. It didn't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go destroy things. That is the nature of its nature. And I feel like you are a natural disruptor where, like I said, you may go into a friend group or you may go into a classroom or you may go, I'm seeing your energy so clear now, or you may go into a work environment and you naturally, without trying, stir up things because everybody is following, they're saying that song, follow the leader, leader, leader. I think it's like a soca song. And everyone is following the leader. And then you come in and you're like doing your own dance. And that causes a lot of friction in social environments and settings. Like any regulated, socially constructed environment, that's going to cause friction because there's an expectation that everybody follows in line, like students in a classroom, workers in an office, the kids in the family, someone in a relationship, people in a friendship group. There's always this unspoken understanding of everyone's position, and you don't have that unspoken understanding. You only know, which is good. You're like that rebel, you're the outlaw. You only know your unspoken understanding, and that's the only one that you need to know. And so that's your rare gift, is that you naturally disrupt things that need to be disrupted, because the thing is, these things need to be disrupted, or else we would have no growth and evolution in our society and in our social paradigms and all of our social constructs. It takes people who are natural disruptors, who lead these movements, but who do them also in a small way, who question things. And you have that questioning energy. You're not okay with just letting things be as is. If something seems off, if you feel called about something, you never do it, just like a tornado, you never do it intentionally. You are naturally curious or following your own heart on something, or asking a question or posing an alternative solution, and that's just who you are. And that could have caused you, I'm seeing a lot of pain when you were younger, because you could have felt really ostracized, because people do not like natural disruptors. I'm a natural disruptor, so I totally understand that. Like, think of this channel and all of the things that come through. I'm sure it's not all easy to hear, but I'm the same way, and I've always just marched to the beat of my own drum, so I completely understand your energy. So you may have, as a small child, or been like, kind of like, what's wrong with me? Or like, why can't I just get along with people? Why is this person pushing me away because I didn't want to do it their way? I see that, but I think as you're coming into your own, you are having way more of like an outlaw confident energy about it, where you're like, this is who I am. So my intention is so good and so pure, and this is part of my natural makeup, that I am going to question things, and I'm going to always look for what's right and the highest good in the situation. And if that ruffles people's feathers, you've learned not to take that personally. You've almost learned not to attach too much to people's or outcomes or situations, because you're like, I have to let everybody have their own experience. If they dislike me, they dislike me. It is what it is. I see that you've come to terms with that. Yeah, here's the ass body coming in now. I see that you're very tuned in to the wisdom of your body. Like, if you feel something's off, you're not eating it, you're not going there, you're not staying there, you're not drinking that, you're not, if your body is like, we don't like this substance, we don't like this food choice, we don't like this person, not we don't like, but we don't resonate, or there's something off here, you really deeply feel it in your body. You could be highly sensitive in your body. You could get headaches if the environment is too loud or aggressive, stomach aches if you're feeling anxious. You could really resonate with that emotional healing thought, belief system, where that everything that we feel in our emotions kind of translates into the body, and you could be super sensitive to those signs your body gives you, which means you could either currently be very healthy in your lifestyle and you prioritize a lot of balance and wellness, like meditation, stretching, drinking a lot of water, green juices, whole foods. That could be something you've naturally had to adopt, because when you don't adhere to that, you feel terrible. Like, some people's bodies just have a way higher tolerance for certain substances. And when I say substances, I mean like, man-made chemicals, stuff like this, or take that as it resonates. But preservatives, junk food basically, and alcohol. Like, some people really can't tolerate alcohol. They're super sensitive to it, and some people it doesn't bother them at all, right? Like, so I think you're the type of person who, if you haven't already had to, you're going to come to a point in your life where you naturally probably adopt a very healthy, holistic lifestyle, because your body is so sensitive. You really feel your best when you keep yourself in balance at a physical level as well as at a emotional level. And that can be frustrating. That may annoy you, because you're like, how come everyone else can eat everything and I can't eat anything without feeling, paying for it for 2 days, 3 days. But that's because you're highly sensitive. That's one of your gifts. So that person can eat whatever they want, but they're also not feeling what they're putting their body through. So, that may catch up with them in a later date where you're going to feel it right away. The canaries in a mine they're showing me. So they would put canaries in mines so that if the poisonous gases came out or there was a leak, the canary would feel it first, because the canary is super sensitive because it's such a small animal, right? So it would feel the gas first, and it would either, fly away or start to act away or whatever. And then the miners would know, okay, we got to get out of here if the canary stops singing, I think is what it would happen. I don't know where I heard that story, or if they're just giving me that story. I feel like you're that way. You're so super sensitive in your body that you sense things before anyone else does. So you could have stopped eating, meat a long time ago, or preservatives a long time ago, or stopped drinking alcohol, or just stopped eating sugar, or just things that other people are like, what? That's just part of our social, we all do that. And you're like, yeah, I can't have certain things. Certain spices could irritate you. But yeah, I see you have a lot of courage to be in this disruptor, healing chaos energy. You have courage for days to be able to do that. That takes such inner strength to not go with the flow, to not follow the leader, to forge your own path. I think is one of the most underrated, resilient strength qualities that somebody can have. It is so hard to not just behave in a way that people expect, not do what other people are thinking and asking of you. Sisterhood of the Rose coming out here. Beauty, yeah, look at this. Beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher. So you could have messages in the mystic pile too. I really see this. Like you are like no other. You're super unique onto yourself, and you have a ton like high priestess energy. You could have high priestess coming out a lot for you in card readings. Maybe study that archetype. I feel like that's your energy. I see you being an advisor in some aspect. Like, are you a spiritual advisor, or have you thought about doing that? I see you sitting somewhere and listening. You could also be like a therapist, or you could play this role with your friends and family. And this could be in your future timeline. They're showing me if it's not now. And I see people coming to you, and you have this like steadiness to hold space for the situation because it doesn't phase you. That's why I feel like you might have messages in pile 2, because they had this like ghost energy where they had like invincibility. And I feel like it doesn't phase you what they're saying. You can hold a space, and then the freaking words of like light and hope and unique truth bombs that you drop that no one would anticipate could have been the solution to that situation. I see you being like a conduit, a bridge. It's so funny. Okay, this is so funny because I always pull out multiple cards when I'm selecting the cards, and I meditate on them and discuss with my guides. And piles 1 and 2, both cards, messages came out that I didn't pick also. And yours, it was the bridge. And I almost picked this bridge card because I see you guys being a conduit. So you could be channelers, but I see you being like someone who bridges the solution with the problem with the solution. You pair things up for people and help them to see clearly. This could just be in a word you say to a stranger. You could do this professionally, like I said, as a therapist or a writer, or you write books and offer solutions. And, you know, you could, like people sometimes sell like workbooks or like routines for like, you know, this is my self-care routine, things like this, where you offer solutions to kind of heal their chaos if they're, you know, unstructured, or if they're just having problems with something. You kind of can look right to the situation, cut through it, and say, this is the perspective that you need, and you're channeling that information. You may not realize it because you somehow know, you have a clear sentience about it. What else does pile 3 possess in terms of unique, rare, special gifts that people see that they don't see? Star Brothers here. Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. So you may resonate with the Falcon. I think that's the Falcon here on this card. And Egypt energy, I always get with this card. You could have Egyptian heritage or lineage or past life relevance to that. Horus energy, protection. Yeah, okay, I see. So you're they just keep giving me trusted advisor. If you're not that already, that's part of your energy that you don't see yet. People will start to, as you stay steady and tuned to your own inner compass, even if it seems chaotic at the beginning because it seems like people leave your side, or bosses don't want to work with you, or people don't want to collaborate with you because they feel like you're unpredictable, what actually happens is that you begin to develop this loyalty and safety and trust feeling with people, because they realize that you're always telling the truth. You are always seeing, like, you're the person who will call it, and then everyone's like, what? The world's not round. You're crazy. And then everyone sees that you were right, you know? And then now they're looking to you, because now they're like, wow, visionary. Like, they see things. So you're the one who everyone's meeting the new boyfriend or friend or girlfriend, and you're like, they're not good for them. That's bad apples. And then lo and behold, 2 months later, they betray your friend, and everyone's like, how did you know that? So then that develops this trust, where you may not like this trait about yourself because you're like, I can't keep friends or relationships around, But then it becomes the right people are drawn to you who see that this trait is so rare and unusual and valuable to have someone in a relationship or a friendship or your family or your work dynamic or your classroom, whatever, who you can trust that they have a strong inner world and that what they see is accurate and relevant and helpful. That's like gold in terms of valuable. Let's see what else comes out here for you, pile 3. A lot has come out. Very powerful souls you are. And if you don't feel like you're in this energy, this could be that this is a trait that you haven't explored yet, where you may feel like, oh, I feel like I should say something. Start to explore it. If you feel like you're really tuned to your inner compass, but you haven't really set it outside of your own body because maybe you're afraid to express, try expressing some of your opinions and see where it gets you. I remember when I first realized this energy and I started to express it, it really, first I had the, like I said, you lose friends, people look at you away, you know, there's conflict because people want you to fall into line. But then I was I was in a corporate job for a very long time, like 30 years. And I ended up really tapping into this trait. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to say what I think. I used to be like, what does my boss think? What does this person think? What do they want me to say? And then I started tuning into this and being like, no, I have this really unique perspective that comes in. Now I understand I was channeling. At the time, I didn't know that. But I would get this really insightful, unique perspective from spirit. And I would share it. And it would be like magic. Like people would be like, wait, what? Like, that's so clever. How did you see that? And it made me extraordinarily successful in my career. I still remember one Christmas Eve, the president of the company, this was a huge company, it's a very well-known company in Canada, if you're in Canada, and they've since gone bankrupt, but so you can Google that and figure out who that was in COVID, during COVID. But at the time, it had a long legacy, you know, like it was around for like 60 years, I think. And anyways, huge company, international and everything. And the president called me, and I was at this time like an assistant to one of the directors. But I had exposure to this president because we had seen each other, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I had said enough or done enough, I don't know what, in emails or speaking, and I wasn't trying to, I was just being myself. And she said, listen, you no longer report to so-and-so, you report to me, you're my right-hand person. Guys, I was blown away. I was like 29 or something. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I had an extremely successful career there as her advisor because she saw that she had so many yes people around her and no one was telling her the truth. And I would say, I don't think that's a good move, or I think we could do that better, or I think that there's another way to do this where everybody could win, or I actually think that that's not what's going on here. And I would speak my mind, and it really served me. So I see you guys, if you're not currently in this energy, this is one of your special skills. This is a trait that you're going to begin to develop. See, Throne, card 45, your potential is endless. Yeah, this is what they showed me. Oh my God, I love this. Okay, remember when I said I see you sitting as an advisor? I swear to you, I should have said, I almost... What they showed me was, I see you sitting on a throne advising when I was talking about that high priestess energy. So this could be back to your Egypt past life. That could be a past life thing if you believe in that, but I am getting that. And then you got this throne card. And this is what I saw. You sitting on this high back chair, this throne. I should have said it, but it's okay. I'm sure you believe me. That would be weird to make up that specific a story. But yeah, I see you like on a throne being an advisor. I mean, maybe not literally in this world, but I see that energy being something that around you. I see that energy being around you. More for pile 3. Stop. Disruption. I can't with this. Oh, I love this. I love this determination. Yeah, on the back. I love this is my spirit to me. Like, this is why I will always do card readings, because it is too fun to be talking about something for 20 minutes and saying disruptor, disruptor, you're a disruptor, you're a disruptor, and then the disruption card to come out. It's like humorous. Like, it's so good. It's funny. Like, I can't with the hilarity. I love that. So if you didn't get the message, disruption, you cause disruption. But it's like the best thing. Like, I'm gonna get one of these spirit messages for you because they thought that was hilarious. So let's see what messages come up here. Oh man, like, your rare qualities. That's not something like, that's like, people who are in like high positions of leadership, they all have that energy. Like your Martin Luther Kings, your what's the, all I'm seeing is the character who played him in a movie. But these political leaders and activists, oh, I want to say it so bad. With an N. Mandela, and the other guy, Gandhi. Sorry. Me and the names. I see you having that. Like, these people are like, there's not a lot of people who are like this in the world. It's more sheep than shepherds, But I think we're changing that. Yeah, listen to this. If you think you are alone, you are not. We are beside you in all challenges that you face. Trust that outside sources will always be working with you to ensure the best outcome of every situation. We have your best interests at heart and we love you. Oh, that's so nice. But yeah, I really feel like that's important, because trusting that you're supported by the unseen world, and that's where you're getting these downloads from. That's where you're getting that nudge of like, I don't think this is the right solution here. I could see a different way. You're getting these downloads from spirit, from the higher realms, and you're tuned into that, and they have your back. And also, it takes a lot of trust that the situation is going to work out. Like, when I was working in that company, I wanted to, button it. And people told me to button it. Oh, my boss told me to button it so many times. Stop talking, Amanda, talk less, don't say anything. If they come in, just because I was known to be, I think they even said to me once, like, oh, here comes the pot stirrer. And I'm like, I'm not stirring a pot. Like, it was offensive to me, but I knew my intention was not that. But it's hard to follow your impulses on something and be true to yourself when everyone's telling you not to, but you learn to trust the outcome. So I would just say to myself, I know that I'm being guided to say this or suggest this or offer this for a reason, or do this, take this action for a reason, and I'm not going to maybe ever see why, or I may see why later, but it's not going to be apparent right now. So I just have to trust. So I feel like that's a big energy that you're either going to be learning about or have had to learn and explore. I think they're closing out your reading here because a lot of goodies came out here. But yeah, even with the Magi cards, saying, we didn't talk about that much, but that's that energy. That's a trusted advisor. People would go to the Magi, to the Oracle, and say, what do you see? What do you think of this situation? What is fair? What could be done? What other solutions could be found here? That's your superpower. That's a good one. Final, whoa, okay. Acceptance. Now why would you get acceptance? I feel like because maybe you're in the energy of like not loving this about yourself. Yeah, don't hold tightly to anything. You know that phrase, like, if you try to hold tightly to sand, it just falls through your fingers. Like, I really feel like you're learning this, and you're starting to learn and accept that the tide comes in, the tide goes out, people come, people go. You're there to experience the now. You're not there to collect things. So you may be learning this. This could be hard for you. I had to learn this lesson because I'm like 43 and I'm like, how am I still not in a long-term relationship? Because we're conditioned socially from birth. You got to find a person, you got to get married, you got to have the kids, and then find your job, and then stay there, stagnant in that position, living that life. And not all of us are cut out for that. And you may not want to be cut out for that, right? Like, I don't think that's where we're going as a collective. Possibly, I don't know, but it doesn't feel that way. Why is the divorce rate so high? I'm not saying you can't have long, meaningful relationships. I believe for myself that when I reach a point within myself, I'll attract that long-term stable relationship, because I know that's something that I would like eventually. But I see now, looking back, that wasn't what I came here for. I didn't come here to find someone, settle down, and just remain the same in my cozy bubble. I just am a natural disruptor. I'm a tornado, and that is what I chose to be when I came here. And I feel like when I learned that acceptance of cycles, this person might be in my life for a season, you know, or what is it? A season or a... anyway, but they may be in your life long-term or short-term. I botched that. That makes life easier because then you approach situations like that. Like when you get a job, you're not like, okay, here I am for 50 years. I'm like, well, let me try this for now and see how it goes because I know how this goes. This could be 30 years. This could be 1 year. Same with relationships. This could be 3 dates. This could be, 300 dates. So you just kind of remain open to what is the highest good for you, and you anchor yourself firmly rooted in yourself. You very rarely will look externally for people's validations or for your comfort or satisfaction or fulfillment. You start to really generate that inwards when you're in this energy. And I think maybe you're coming to this place of acceptance about that because maybe you've been a little bit, maybe this reading will be very healing for you, would be my hope and intention if you are on the side of this, of I'm not loving that I'm this way. I'd love you to come on to the side of it that, you see this as your superpower and you realize how to harness it for your own good and the highest good of everybody involved in those situations, which is always the intention. Okay, wow, that was an incredible reading. I loved reading that for you guys. Please comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. That's a blessing for me if it did resonate or if you want to share your story. If not, no worries. If you are going to another pile, I think pile 3 came up for you, then I will see you there. If not, I will see you in another reading on another day. Be well. Hi, pile 4. Thank you for being here. You have the Swan Lover card with the really cool moonstone, I think, lotus flower. And let's find out what you don't realize is a super unique superpower of yours, rare gift, etc., etc., that makes you magnetic and draws people to you and that they really admire about you, but you may not realize. For starters, I see you having a grace and elegance. The swan is just giving that so strong in this card. That you may not see about yourself. It's so funny because I find sometimes the most obvious traits to other people, we don't recognize it in ourselves. So that could be the case. You could be a dancer or do Pilates or something that, compassion. So not surprised that that came through because the lover is so compassionate, that energy. I didn't actually use the archetype card too much in anyone else's reading, maybe the mystic one, but the Siren really didn't come up that much. And what was the other one? The gem, it came up a little bit, but yours, I really feel like you really are the lover archetype, which is that like caring, compassionate, kind. You're the peacemaker. You are so full of love and you are not afraid to express it, but I feel like you do it in a very gentle, elegant way. You're not like love bombing or constantly complimenting people. It's not like that. You're just one of those people who always sees like the positive in someone and the positive in the situation. They did tell me to stop using this deck and I wanted to get one more. And then that's what happens when I try and force them to pull a card from a deck. Because I like it to be symmetrical. But they are not about symmetry here, so I have to let that go. Message for pile 4, please. What do they not see is their rare, unique superpower or gift, talent, ability? What draws people to them? For some of you, I heard Black Swan. I never saw that movie, but they showed me like the beak here of the swan and how it's black. You may feel like you're the one that doesn't belong sometimes. Or that movie could resonate for you. Not us getting another bird. Embracing. I thought that was a swan for a second. I was about to throw down these cards and do an excited dance. But it's very similar. They're even facing the same way. Embracing. So with that orphan, okay. Look at this. This is another bird. See, can you see it? I want to make sure I get this because I'm terrible at holding these cards up. Look, she has a beak on and this like swan costume in a nest. It's like a little bird that's been left. I should just do a whole reading standing. I can see so much better. But that's, wow, you now have 3 birds facing that way. Okay, so I did get that black swan message. So for some of you, I feel like you feel like the odd one out. But this is going to be your uniqueness. For example, they're showing me there's like some models who have that skin pigmentation where their skin, I don't know what it's called. They're saying alopecia. I don't think that's what it is. That's the one where I think you have hair. You aren't born with hair. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with them, but they're saying alopecia, but there's that other one, and there's some models that have kind of used that as a strength in their modeling because they're so unique and gorgeous and like just so different and stunningly beautiful. They're showing me that. So I don't know if you have that skin. I even don't even like calling it disorder. You know what I mean? Because it makes it sound like something's wrong with you, which there's not. But it depends how you perceive it. You may not like having that because it's different. And I don't know enough about it to know if there's other health complications from that. But there could be some unique thing about you, like your eyes are different colors, or you just have something unusual that maybe you don't like. Maybe you have like a scar on your face, or like something with your upper palate they're showing me, like a cleft or something that you had as a kid and there's a scar, or maybe you have like a ton of freckles or something like this where I feel like they're showing me red hair. Maybe you feel like it makes you an outsider. But it's actually part of your unique beauty. And I'm sure you've heard that over and over. Maybe you haven't. It depends, I guess, how you were raised and stuff. If your parents told you that, or your friends or your teachers. But it's just so true that it's coming out in the reading. You have some sort of unique thing about your physical appearance and your energy that makes you very like alluring, especially in this time. Like if you were born 100 years ago, I think it would have been a much more difficult, but in this time, finally society is embracing all of these beautiful aspects of the diversity, and it can actually be a strength, like they showed me with those models who just have that radiant uniqueness about them. Okay, what's happening with these decks? Like, they're so cold. Which deck would you like me to get? How about that? This one? Okay. Peace. Another bird. Oh my gosh. You have peace and compassion and a 4th bird. This is wild. I need another one of that. I don't know if you're a bird, like if you're a bird lover, maybe a bird watcher, or if you really resonate with bird spirit animals. Growth. Okay. Yeah, I could see that coming in here. I'm going to get you one of these messages. We only got this for pile 1. What is pile 4's superpower? Why am I doing these upside down? Do you see like how cold these decks are for you? Why is that? What am I missing? That's never happened to me before. Let me just tune in to this situation. Okay, the birds, they're saying something about the birds they want addressed that I haven't said. Birds. Do you have a pet bird? Okay, so they're showing me, this is what I'm hearing. They said the bird flies alone. But then they showed me the swan and how in the pond by my house that I pass every day, there's a pair of swans because I think they mate for life, I think. And I always see them together, but they're not always together. They might be like, they're in the same bay, but one might be over here and one might be over here, like, 100 meters apart. But they're always orbiting each other. And then they just said peace bringer. You're a peace bringer. Embracing. Compassion. To have peace and compassion and the lover is very powerful. And even the word embracing, these are all like words of togetherness. They're all words of harmony. So I don't know if you realize this about yourself, but you are you bring harmony where you go. Okay, so they're showing me how if you come into a room and it was like a rowdy room, everyone would settle down. Like I see people like looking your way and being like, oh, shh, 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 shh. Like there's some inherent respect that you entering the room would create. I'm not sure why, if it's because of your physical appearance or if it's because of the energy that you carry. This is a very mysterious pile. Like I'm having a hard time going into the deeper layers like I was with everybody else. So they want a spirit guide message here. Very intrigued. You're obviously very intriguing. Like people do not know what's going on inside your world, inside your head, inside your mind, inside your heart. I think they just said mate for life. So I think you're either with a long-term partner or you haven't met them yet, and then that will be your long-term partner. I don't get the sense that you've had to have a lot of karmic, toxic relationships dated around. That came up, I think, in pile 2. I don't get the sense here that that's happened. I think you were either with a long-term partner for a very long time and they've either passed on or you divorced or something, or you're still with them. And then you will have another great love, or you will be with the one person for your whole life, like the swan's mate. But even though you will be with someone or with someone, you're very independent. Like they said, the bird flies alone. It's like there's places in your life you go that you don't bring your partner with you, or that you won't bring them with you. Like there's inner portals of your world that are just for you. And they showed me dance again. Like say you're a dancer. I don't see you being really open about that with your friends and family necessarily. It's like your own private, safe place. Or whatever that is for you. Could be card reading, could be knitting, could be biking, singing, spoken word. And you're kind of like, this is my, like I said, Pilates keeps coming up, or yoga. Message for pile. There we go. Finally. Okay, what is this? Perhaps you are reminded all too often just how quickly the phases in your life can shift. One after another, you are learning to adapt and grow. Be kind and gentle with yourself. Yeah. You may have messages in pile. I think it was 3. There was a pile about cycles. I can't remember which one it was now. Perhaps you are reminded. One change after another. Yeah, the orphaned. I feel like you haven't had a lot of stability in your world. I feel like you've one of your superpowers is that you've developed the ability to adapt quickly. Where others would hold on and attach to things, you're like, okay, I can see where this is going. I'm moving. I can see where this is going. Like you're always kind of on the move with things. Like you might have had to move a lot, or something might have happened in your family situation where you literally felt orphaned. You could have been in foster care. So I feel like there's some sense of stability where you haven't been able to find a nest for yourself where you really feel grounded and secure. I'm gonna get this one. Like a bird, you've been creating new nests where you go and where needed, and kind of putting down roots as required. And then when you gotta go, you gotta go. I really don't think you see yourself as this lover archetype. But you have like such a gentle soul. You're not, like, in the strength card, they show the young girl with the lion. Like, you're the young girl, that innocence, that vulnerability, that, but you know how to tame that lion. You know how to tame your inner ego, your inner struggles, those inner voices. You almost have like a very like hypnotic energy where, like, I see you being like leading. It's hard to explain what they're showing me. What the heck? They just keep showing me like a field with sheep, and it's a small child leading the sheep, and the sheep are all following. But it's a small child, and she's not using any force or coercion. It's just a gentleness that leads. They have a love for this child, the sheep, and so they follow. Libra with balance. Yeah, really Libran energy. A fairness, a solidness. You're not, like, so really, maybe, was it pile 3? No, it wasn't pile 3 that you have messages. I think it was pile 2. It was the pile that the ghost card came up. If you want to scroll through and look in the top right-hand corner of the screen, I think it was pile 2 towards like the middle or end of the reading. You'd see the gray ghost card. I think that's the message you would have. Other messages, and I think it was pile 2. The mystic, I think. Yeah, you could be a Libra, but I see this like very balanced, steady, compassionate, just, fair energy. Gemini also coming out. Oh, you got this cross-pollinate card. What is this about? They told me this the other day in my mind. They said cross-pollinate. And then they showed me this deck. And they said, if the bees comes out again, you're going to talk about cross-pollination. And I was like, okay. Because there's a card in this deck that says soul work. And then they said cross-pollinate. But I didn't know that there was a card in this deck that said this. So I guess this is what they're showing me now. Okay, let's get to these. Then you also have opposition with confrontation here. Gemini, so you could have Gemini energy also. Gemini, Libra. A lot of like 2s here. See, there's these 2 bucks, the 2 scales, the 2 bees. Oh yeah, and then you have the swan where they show me the image of the 2 of you. It's funny because you may feel like orphaned, but I see you very paired up with something. This is either like a long-term friend or family member, or you could have a twin, like a either twin flame or a twin in like an actual twin, fraternal or identical. Or there's a twin soulmate here who you either walk with or will walk with. But like I said, you very much hold your own independence. It's not codependent at all. It's a companion energy. Okay, so which one should we get here first here? Gemini with cross-pollinate. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, let's get to that first. So with the cross-pollinate, they're showing me that one of your superpowers is you mix things up in the world energetically. One of your gifts is that you take something from one conversation you had with someone, or a reading, or an experience that you had, and you extract the pollen. Is that what they do? Yeah. Extract the pollen from that situation, metaphorically, whatever the gem is from that situation, and you bring it into another situation that needs it. You're like a distributor. You're like an energetic distributor of compassion and peace and insight. That is wild. I've never heard that before. So, for example, you have a conversation with, a stranger, and they drop some gem about something, and it's like food for thought, and you're like, oh, that's interesting, but you don't see how it applies to you. But then months later, you're having a conversation with someone else, and they bring up something, and you're like, you just insert that information. You're like, oh, I heard that in that situation you could ABC. Someone told me this. And then that friend's like, what? Wow. And that changes their life. And I see you doing that all throughout your life. You're a cross-pollinator. You literally go and take you're able to identify. So what Spirit's showing me this so clear. In this situation, what most people do is they drop that. They don't take the pollen. They might hear it, they might integrate it into their own self, but most people rarely would consider taking it and injecting it into another situation that calls for that. Does that make sense? So you don't drop that ball. You see the gem, whether you consciously acknowledge it or not. It's just in your character. And then you are ready and willing to use that information or that insight as soon as it's called for. It's a form of spiritual work. That's a service you're doing. Like, you're serving in that way humanity. Because in the etheric realm, God, the universe, guides, ancestors, whatever you want to call it, they can't physically manipulate matter. Some things they can, very minorly. Some electrical things, like lights flickering and things like this. But they can't physically say, hey, because they're not in their body anymore, and get the information to someone. They're relying on people like us who have the insight and the skills to take the information and pass it on to the right person. So that's what you do. You take these gems and you plant it where it needs to go. I don't know if you know this about yourself. That's a crazy... Look back and see how many times that might have happened in your life, and you might be able to identify that is what you've been doing a lot of your life. And it may help you to know that now. Opposition, confrontation. I don't see any of this in your energy, so I don't know what this is about. Let's get a clarifier for that, because it's like you have peace, you have balance, compassion. I see nothing here about opposition and confrontation. So what is that relating to? Let's get a clarifying card for that. I don't know why they just projected to me ones, 111 or 1111. Again, I guess that's the twin flame number. So if that resonates for you, I just checked the time because I thought that's what they were saying, but it's 1:46, so I don't know why they projected that to me just randomly. Can we clarify the opposition card? Oh, okay. So for some of you, this is like a 1 to 2%. You're with your twin, or you're not with them, but you know who your twin is, and you're in confrontation. You're in opposition right now. You're in separation. And they might be the only person in your life that brings opposition to you. You may have a very peaceful, harmonious situation with everybody else in your life except this twin, except this partner that I talked about. Whoever this companion is, it could be friend, like I said, family member, someone who just feels like a soul connection. Could be romantic, like a twin flame. Could be your twin, like I said. This person, you guys just butt heads on, but you don't have that with like anybody else. But that's the purpose of that relationship, is to contrast and allow you to learn whatever you both need to learn from the other person's perspective. Did I try to get this deck for you before and it was cold? I'm way off on these decks. I don't know what and why. Let's get a surrender card, they're saying. They're just very particular about which deck and cards. I could see this 100%. Surrender the habit of people pleasing. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. Yeah, I really see this for you. And that could be this opposition coming in because you may be super uncomfortable with opposition and confrontation. I see this clearly now. That was a great clarifier. I thought they were saying you were confrontational. I'm like, absolutely don't get that at all. You avoid. That's why they put it under the peace. To keep the peace. Oh yeah, is it saying to keep the peace? No, just people pleasing. To keep the peace. So one thing that Spirit's encouraging you to be a little bit open to is finding a way to have harmonious opposition. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be down and dirty and ugly every time you have opposition. You can gracefully and respectfully communicate your opposing opinion. And I think you're learning that because you, I think, have a habit of going with the flow of the conversation or agreeing with people just to please them and to avoid confrontation. And I think what you're exploring about yourself is how bringing in this opposition occasionally when you feel it, not make it up if there's no reason. If you agree, that's great. The harmony is great, but contrast is also great and can bring a lot of growth and new development and new opportunities. So starting to be open to that. I'm just told me to check my camera. Oh, see, you're so smart. Hold on a second. My low battery warning was on, but we're at the end of your reading anyway. This is really interesting energy. Yeah, so embracing your cross-pollination gift, because that's incredible, and then being open to whoever the soulmate person is, if you've met them or not, looking out for them in your life, because they're going to be on your path. Yeah, fear coming up here with this opposition, I would say. But not being afraid of life, because I feel like you have a little bit of timidness because of what life's thrown at you, this orphan energy, and not being afraid of confrontation, starting to express yourself more and activate your throat chakra. And when you feel called and when you feel in your gut that it's right, standing up and if you have an opposing opinion and finding your voice and your way of expressing in a peaceful, compassionate way, if that's your nature. You can be firm in your boundaries and your beliefs without being aggressive. Final message. Oh, actually, I want to get one of these for you for final message. I said finally we can get this deck. Final message for pile 4, please. But again, if you had felt called to another pile, there's more messages in there, they're saying. I don't know which one, but they did show me that one pile with the ghost card. Ow. That one didn't want to go back in. Guidance. Ooh. Guidance. Find safety in your beacon's light. This one keeps coming up a lot. Let me just tune into that guidance. Your beacon's light. Yeah, because you have the fear card and it says find safety. So I do sense you feel vulnerable at sometimes in this world. And I think the more you develop your relationship with your guides, you're going to feel less anxious, less alone, less orphaned. And I think the more you begin to express yourself and have this growth in terms of self-expression and individuality, I think you're going to feel more safe in that because you're going to trust yourself more. You're going to feel that you're going to start to see the power of your gifts with this cross-pollination and how it impacts people. And I think you're going to find a lot of purpose in that, however that comes out and is expressed. And I feel that this connection that you're building with your guides is going to bring a lot more balance into your life, but it's also going to bring in this feeling of stability, of not feeling alone. And you'll learn to rely and trust more your inner nudges, your inner knowing, your inner wisdom. And the more you develop that relationship with your inner world, you're going to feel much more guided because you are being guided every step of the way. But when we're not used to that inner world relationship, we can feel very alone in this world. So I think you're being called to develop that relationship more, finding out who your guides are, if you're open to that, your ancestors, just discovering your inner devotional world with God, the universe, whatever you resonate with, whatever your belief system is. But yeah, really beautiful, soft, like lovely, kind energy here. You guys are really rare in this world to have that type of purity. It's really beautiful. I really love that for you, and I really enjoyed your reading. If I met you in real life, I would definitely want to be friends. I'd be like, hello, rare soul with this good heart. Okay, guys, if you resonated with this or you want to share your story, please leave a comment or an emoji. I love hearing from you guys. If not, no worries. If you're going to another pile, then I will see you there. If not, I will see you in another reading on another day. Be well.